very glad to see a full house. I'll like to pamper myself by really believing that everybody who's here is actually there to contribute to this engaging discussion that we are going to have, to listen to what we have to say. And I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, nobody thought an educator, what has he got to share with us, we'll have a quiet session, and it's a good place to be after lunch, right? So I'm just pampering myself. I'm sure you're all here to listen to what we are going to discuss and hopefully meaningfully contribute to this whole discussion. So I'll just start by briefly introducing the topic for this masterclass that we have. We're calling it the skill code, okay? And you've heard this phrase, the skill code, but we'll be using it in a very different and different meaningful context over here. We'll actually talk about the skill code in the changing environment that we see ourselves today. So we are talking about an evolving workplace. We are talking about India 2030 powered by AI. I just heard in between the question, very, very valid question, how many people feel afraid of AI? And a question that all of us have been asking ourselves, and if you actually go out, talk to a few people in the workplace, you ask them about the technology, and they'll all be very gung-ho about it. It's something that is revolutionary, right? But you take them to the tea stall and ask them, are you worried about AI? And in confidence, they'll say, I am worried. I mean, it's eventually, that's the feeling people have. It's going to take away my job. How will I put food on the table? Right? So there's a fear factor that people have when it comes to AI as a technology and how it's going to impact them. So there's a positive and a negative sentiment attached with it. I'm sure last day and a half, we've talked a lot about the positive aspects of AI and how it's transforming our industries, our workplaces. I am here to talk today more about how do we empower our people, right, to get ready for this intelligent transformation that is happening in our workplace. Right? So that's the topic for today. I'm Dr. Nishit Narang. I represent BITS Pilani, Work Integrated Learning Programs. I am somebody who I like to call, I am somebody who has an equal perspective of academia and industry. I spent about 23 years in the industry before I moved to academia. So hopefully there's a few things that I can bring in which actually reflect my experience in the industry and the academia. In summary, we are going to touch upon three key things. We are going to talk about the importance of collaboration. It's a word we've all heard. We know the importance of the term collaboration, the first day in the industry, and we are told collaboration is what keeps us going. Today, I'm going to use the term collaboration in a slightly different context. I'm not so much talking about collaboration within teams and the traditional teams that we had, but more in terms of collaboration between teams and AI systems, humans and AI systems, right? That's the collaboration we're talking about. And in a very subtle way, I'll also talk about how and why academia industry collaboration is also so much important. And we know it's important, but even more so in the current context. So that's one part, collaboration. But then balance. Right? We all believe in balance. Life has to be balanced, things have to be balanced, everything around us has to be in a balanced state for the equilibrium to be maintained. So what is the balance we are going to talk about in the case of our changing workplaces? That's the second part of it. And the third part that I'll talk about is the importance of continuous learning. Again, it's always been important, but today in this evolving era, it's even more important to be talking about this thing. So that's largely what I'll talk about. Of course, there are a lot of talking points which I'll gradually introduce as we move along. Right, so let's start our discussion by just trying to put on in front of us, what do we mean by an AI-ready talent, right? So because we are talking about empowering people, what is it that classifies these people in the workplace as AI-ready? Right? Who are these AI-ready people? What kind of a trait or characteristic do they have? And across organizations, if you talk to people, and I'm sure a lot of people over here believe that the key traits of a AI-ready professional are probably amongst these four, right? Or a combination of these four. Professionals who are AI ready are the ones who are agile and flexible. I mean, they don't fear change. They are rather adapting to the change. They can change, they can learn and keep up with the changing environment. They know it's important to remain work effective. Right? They're people who believe in continuous learning. Right? They are ones who know that it is important to keep your skills, to keep your knowledge current, and in the current era that we are in, step up to the AI advancements that are happening, keep pace with them. They're also ones who have a good emotional intelligence. Now, while this is not something that is so much talked about, in the era that we are or entering into, emotional intelligence allows these professionals to collaborate effectively. As I said, not just within their teams, but in order to be able to collaborate with AI-driven systems as well. Emotional intelligence is very important. And above all, tech savviness. Right? They have to understand, utilize AI technologies, confidently use them. That's the only way we are going to see productivity and innovation come in. So if that is the skill every organization is looking for, if that's what we expect from our people, do we have it? Do our workplaces have these kind of individuals who are all four? They are tech savvy, they are agile, flexible, they have a high emotional intelligence? No, we all lack in some ways or the other. So there are skill gaps that every organization sees. And while we are not completely there yet, there are ways to fulfill these skill gaps. Right? So what is important is to understand that the fear that a lot of people carry about AI replacing jobs, I'm not denying that that's not something that's happening or will happen, but that should not deter us, rather it should propel us forward. I'll talk about an analogy which many of us would have gone through. I mean, remember the days when digitization was happening in a big way in the country. Everybody felt computers and computer-based systems are going to just do everything and we'll lose jobs. But people who adapted to the change, and as we sit here today, we know it's not that computer systems have actually taken out jobs from humans. They've made humans do the same job in a better, more effective, and a productive manner. Yet there were people who did not want to adapt to it, quickly became the dinosaurs of the past. And there are people who adapted to it, and today they do their work with more effectiveness and higher productivity. So it's important to understand that humans are not going anywhere. Right? When I talk about human capabilities, there are certain things which AI does not match today. It's evolving, but with quite certainty, we can say there are certain capabilities which humans possess, which we will like to leverage from human workforce itself. So it's very important to differentiate between human capabilities and what machine intelligence brings on the table. Essentially, creativity is something that's essential to humans. I mean, we talk about human creativity, the empathy factor that humans have, the ability to make ethical judgments. So by the way, my flight today was 5 hours delayed, morning today. I'm sitting at the airport. There are a lot of techies traveling here and there, and I'm just listening to a few people. Right? And there are a couple of people sitting right beside me talking about, they sound like they're founders of a startup, and they're talking about, we have a UI component to develop, but we don't have the time to meet the deadline. Should we use AI tools to build it? Or should we outsource it to a UI expert? That's the question they're debating. After a little bit of discussion, you know what the conclusion they came up with? Let us outsource it to a UI expert. What is the reasoning is what they were talking about, and I just happened to overhear. They're saying, if we outsource it to a UI expert, the reason we're doing that is because UI is not just UI, it's also UX. Right? There's a user experience part to it. And that user experience is where the creativity comes in. That's where the user psychology comes in. Who better to understand that than a human himself? Right? So that's their idea. Because user experience is so important, let us outsource it to an expert, let them do the UX part of it. Maybe he'll use AI tools to develop these UI later on, but what is more important? Not the UI, the UX. Right? So that's where creativity, empathy, the ability to make ethical judgment comes in. But we have these two lobes of our brain. So we have creativity, but we also have problem-solving capabilities. So humans have been known to solve complex problems. Essentially, we are saying it's the capabilities that humans have and AI does not is what we have to nurture, grow, build, and eventually enter into a collaboration with the AI-based systems. Okay? So organizations which will excel or which will very, very, in a good manner, integrate AI systems into their workplace will be the ones who have a strategy for enhancing this collaboration between people and AI. Okay? So this strategy is a very simple thing. It's all about understanding the strengths that AI has. Leverage AI strengths, but with human oversight and creativity. By the way, the 5-hour flight delay was because the ATC systems had a glitch in Delhi. Okay? We are over-reliant on systems. Eventually, people had to come in, run the operations manually, and that's what got the entire system back into upstate. So we cannot be over-reliant, right? Yet we cannot do away with these systems because the fact that there's manual control over the air traffic control means the whole operation is running slow. But automation brings in the efficiency. So a balance is very, very important to strike, and that's where the balance part of my discussion comes in. We have to leverage AI strengths, but with human oversight and with human creativity. The ethical control has to remain with humans. I'm sure we are not comfortable giving the control to AI systems. We don't want the transformer era. Right? So that's where the balance comes in. That's where the strategy of balance helps us get to a perfect way to move forward ahead. There are a lot of real-world examples of industries where they've actually reached that kind of a fine balance between human-AI synergy. We've seen healthcare industry adopting it in a big way. We know doctors are scarce. We know a lot of patients in our hospitals, and there are not enough doctors to cater to them. But if AI starts to assist these medical professionals in diagnostics and personalizing the treatment, then it frees up the doctors. We're not giving AI the role of doing a surgery or a critical surgery, but we are using AI for assistance. So that's the balance I'm talking about. Same way with the finance space. In the IT sector, where bulk of many of us might be coming from, the software development, the efficiency that AI brings in. So we are all talking about AI-based development life cycles today. But how are we building these AI development life cycles? We are using AI to create content. Yes, that's true. It does it much faster. But AI is actively seeking clarifications from a human. They're seeking guidance. We are allowing humans to make those critical decisions. Right? And yet we are allowing AI to do all those routine tasks that it is good at doing. That's how we are balancing in the software industry. Okay? So it's all about striking a balance, creating a strategy where humans, AI collaborate, and that's the way forward. Now, if that is where we intend to be, it's important for workplaces to create a learning culture for their workforce to reach that level. Right? That fear factor has to go out of us. We have to recognize this is where we want to be. This is what differentiates us from AI. This is what we will always let AI do, because it's like a computer system. It helps my productivity. But this is what I want to achieve. So cultivating a learning culture, fostering adaptability, fostering digital curiosity amongst our workforce is extremely important for modern workplaces. And this is what we need to do. So before I get to what I want to say on this slide, another thing, sitting on the airport, I'm reading these posts coming on LinkedIn, and I'm sure many of you have read this as well. The CEO of Microsoft AI posting, it's a very interesting statement he makes. He says, I am willing to hire somebody who's taken wild swings and missed, rather than hiring somebody who's actually played safe and met everything that he's tried to do. Now, what is the intent behind that statement? That intent is clearly showing that they nurture experimentation. They nurture trial and error. They nurture creativity. I can stick to a very safe path and meet everything that I'm told to do, but that's not what Microsoft AI or the CEO at least is looking for. He's looking for people who can take those wild swings and maybe miss a few times, but that is what nurtures their creativity. So what's important for organizations when we talk about that culture of fostering growth is to create those safe spaces for innovation. Encourage trial and error. It's not so bad a thing. Right? Where we are today with the AI technology, it's a consequence of having safe spaces for innovation in organizations and encouraging trial and error. Right? It's also important to complement it and augment it with continuous learning. I don't sit at home and vaguely get ideas in my mind. I learn. Every day I learn from experiences around me, from talks that I attend. Right? Every place I learn, and that is what builds in the thoughts in my mind. So continuous learning, whether in a workplace, whether in a classroom, whether in our everyday life, it's all so much important to have continuous learning. So there's a very big role for our leaders. Many of us as leaders are sitting here in this room today. It's very important for our leaders to be nurturing lifelong learning and growth. So at first, they have to themselves be modeling this learning behavior. They have to lead by example, demonstrate continuous learning, encourage others by setting a strong example. That's the true trait of a leader who believes in lifelong learning. Okay? Provide learning resources to your people. They should not have to search for it or have to fight for it. I mean, it readily should be available in every workplace. And foster a learning culture. Create an environment where you reward your employees for their continuous development. And that is going to definitely have a very positive impact even to employee engagement. Okay? Now, at this point in time, I will also want to talk a little bit about what are these skills. When I talk about lifelong learning, is it everything? Or maybe there are certain skills which are more important because we stand here today at a venue or at an event where the theme is India 2030 powered by AI. Gladly, we called it powered by AI, not controlled by AI. So we are actually talking about that balance somewhere. What are those key skills that we are talking about? So yes, AI is one of the skills that is very important for everybody to build, but AI doesn't run on its own. There's so many supporting technologies that makes AI systems run. So if I were to say, what are those essential skills for people at your workplace that they should build for an AI-driven future? I would say, yes, AI literacy is important. It's important to understand AI concepts. That's crucial for our employees today, and even more so for future. It's also important to have cloud computing skills. More and more, our organizations are adopting the cloud platform, so that's important. Cybersecurity awareness is extremely important. Okay? And data analysis is also a very important skill. So why did I pick up these 4 skills? Okay? Look around us, and we all come from different industries, different backgrounds. But one thing that spreads across horizontally across industries, that's impacting every industry, is AI, cloud, cybersecurity. One way or the other, we're all worried about it. And the importance of data. Data is the new oil. We want to gather insights, analyze data, and use it. So it's not just all about AI, but yes, AI does mean all the enhancements in AI. It means that we have to be literate in AI. We have to have cloud computing skills. We could be getting into a cybersecurity area or into data analysis, and all of this is actually helping us with that dream of India 2030 powered by AI. Right? So organizations must implement very effective training and upskilling programs, which means you have to have practical learning. That's what the industry is all about, hands-on learning, hands-on labs. Mentorship support. Okay? We need hand-holding. We can learn on our own, but if there's somebody to handhold us, it's all the more better. So mentorship is important. We learn in capsules. We can't digest a lot at the same time. So small micro-learning modules is what we need. And also, continuous feedback, which helps us to continuously improve, identify our strengths, find out our areas of improvement, and pick things up in a more conscious manner. So at this time, at the risk of sounding like a marketing guy, which of course I'm not, but I want to introduce the concept of work-integrated learning programs. The reason being, I don't want to sound like it's all air and no meat. I want to actually show that there's something that has been ongoing, that's something BITS Pilani has been doing for years, which actually highlights the importance of continuous learning and which actually shows that it is possible to create this kind of a culture. But it's something that we've been doing for 46 plus years now. Right? And it's helped us help organizations in transforming their workforce. Right? So organizations' workforce capability has increased over years, and that's a lot of it has to do with their participation with work-integrated learning programs. Across industries, you see a lot of industries on this slide. These are industries where we have made an impact. Our numbers speak for themselves. There are 1,047 organizations who work with us. And it's not just a cumulative number of 1,047 organizations where you ask me how many organizations are there today with us. 92% of the organizations we've retained over 26 years. That actually shows volume of how we deliver, how we do. I mean, those organizations have been satisfied with us to stay with us for 26 long years. Right? 387 MOUs that we've signed with them to collaborate between academia and industry. As we stand today, by the way, this is our current enrolled strength as of today. 50,117 students that are today enrolled in work-integrated learning programs. And if you look at all our graduated students who are actually working professionals, there's upwards of 136,000 students who've already graduated. And amongst those, there are 5,000 plus people who are actually CEOs, founders, global heads, presidents. They've all been associated with work-integrated learning programs of BITS Pilani. So there's solutions that we provide to cater to this evolving workplace and the landscape of work that's changing. We have entry-level talent solutions. We have formal degree programs. We have project-based programs for workplaces and employees. We've set up our centers of excellence across the country, which focus on very specific emerging technologies, autonomous vehicles, applied AI, smart manufacturing. And these are set up in a lot of metro cities that are coming up, not just the 3 campuses that we have in India. We've set up a 100% in-house AI foundation where we are collaborating with industry partners and a community of developers and users in order to build frameworks and tools that will help build these solutions, AI solutions for the future. And we also have research programs for working professionals where they can enhance their research expertise by enrolling in PhD programs with us. So it basically touches upon every aspect of learning, but this is quite different from what you look at from a regular campus. It's work-integrated learning. It's what you do at your workplace gets integrated in your learning, and that's what we deliver. So a lot of programs, I won't touch a lot of about them, but you see there are a lot of programs that we have across IT, core engineering, management, pharmaceuticals, everywhere there are a lot of programs and degree programs, certificate programs, postgraduate programs that we deliver. So essentially, what have I said? Let me summarize. We've said it's important to collaborate, not just amongst us, but with AI systems. Yet, it's important to balance. It's important to keep a balance. It's important to have continuous learning. So essentially, we are saying we need to create workplaces where we are sustaining creativity. Right? We are not in our rush to automate everything. We are not leaving the diverse perspectives aside. We're not doing that. We are sustaining creativity as automation increases. So we are still promoting diverse perspectives. We are encouraging varied viewpoints, and that is what drives innovation. Right? It's about Microsoft AI CEO saying, make those wild swings. Because even though you miss, that is what will drive problem solving. That is what will give us creative ways to solve problems. That's what drives innovation. At the same time, don't be afraid of working with AI systems, look at it like another form of collaboration. Right? And in order to reach that stage, don't hold on to your learning. We never should believe that we are in a job, I don't need to learn. Right? In our jobs, we are continuously learning every day, day in and day out. That has to continue. So I'll just end by concluding on these 3 points. We need an adaptable and AI-ready workforce. Right? That's given, that is going to happen whether we like it or not. That's what we need to move towards. But balancing creativity, innovation is equally important as automating using AI. And there is where the leadership commitment comes in. Right? Leaders have to be committed towards this kind of a human AI collaboration, and they have to be committed towards fostering a culture of continuous learning, experimentation, and growth for their employees. Thank you, everyone, for sitting with me. This is what I call the skill code for the modern era.